And here we are. We are here at the Daytona International Speedway. And it's a big night in the NNSCRA. The 2020 NNSCRA Daytona 500 presented by Amari. Hello, everybody. This is Napa Fan here. Great to be here on this Wednesday evening, calling another great online race here in the NNSCRA. And this is going to be a great one here tonight from the Daytona International Speedway. One of the biggest races of the year. And I'm alongside a couple of guys. One guy who knows online very well and one guy who knows offline with me very well. Carson Gum and Nathan Stapleton. And guys, it's going to be an interesting race mainly because of one specific rule that they added. Realistic damage. Carson, how do you think these guys are going to handle this race, knowing that if they wreck, they're most likely going to be out of the race?
Well, I think they're going to be definitely more cautious than last, that's for sure.
And we'll definitely have to see how it all plays out in this one for those guys. And Nathan, you've broadcasted a few online races as well. You know how wild these things can get, especially with Talladega. These super speedway races, they tend to wreck very frequently. With that realistic damage in play, do you think that's going to be the case tonight, or will we see some long green flag runs here in the Daytona 500?
Honestly, I think we might have a mix of both, because they're going to get aggressive at the end of those stage breaks, and they might decide to just be careful in that final stage until 20 to go. So I think we might see a combination of both. But at the end of the night, it's going to be full throttle, full send, tires to the wall, see if who wins this race.
And of course, if you're looking at your screen right now and you see all these guys hitting each other in the pit lane, they're just kind of messing around, getting ready in the driver's meeting, getting ready for the start of this race scheduled for 8:10. So any minute now, we will be racing here in the 2020 NNSCRA Daytona 500. I'm excited for this one. We have a new feature that's going to be in the broadcast, a scrolling ticker in the bottom right corner of your screen. Of course, with other online broadcasts and other leagues, you might see this. But I'm new to figuring this whole thing out, so nice little bonus. We'll have our traditional ticker like we normally do when I'm broadcasting a race as well. And yeah, we hope you guys enjoy the broadcast and we give you as much information as possible. We'll go ahead and show you guys the starting lineup for the race. You see right there on the left of your screen. You can take out Carson, Nathan, and I there in the list there. And with that, 21 drivers will be starting this race here tonight with Seth Cole and Tyler Mallon tied for the pole position. I do believe Seth Cole will get the benefit of leading the field of the green flag. But Nathan, how about those guys going side by side and being identical in the qualifying session just a while ago?
Yeah, a lot of times tend to be close on these super speedways, as you see with the top 8 being very close, and even with the top 14 guys that did the qualifying lap. But for them to tie exactly 49.730, that is a lot, and that is just incredible for them to be tied like that.
All right, these guys are ready to roll off here. Carson, final thoughts on what we're going to see here tonight at Daytona?
Well, we're going to see some great racing, definitely, but hopefully they can keep it together long enough to start.
So Seth Cole starting on the pole position in the number 78 machine. Tyler Mallon will be starting alongside him in the 08. Of course, if you saw Talladega a few months ago, you know Tyler Mallon dominated that race and won it. I would imagine he's going to be a favorite once again. Number 46 of Travis Crampton. TJ Crampton there. Your good buddy there, Nathan. Starting there on the inside in row number 2. He's alongside one of my good buddies, Garrett Sonor, in the number 16. We know those folks there quite well. Number 9 machine Dylan Poteet. Number 18 Andrew Lemke in row number 3. Rob Evans and Rodriguez. I think it's Eric Rodriguez. I don't have the full name and I didn't.
That is correct.
Eric Rodriguez. That's what I thought. My apologies there.
Start your engine!
You can hear the command to start the engines. Rest of the starting lineup, Emmanuel Hartnett and Dejan Weeks in row number 5. Charles Belding and Christian Shaw in row number 6. Cameron Hartley, Shane Sides in row 7. Matthew Rodriguez and David Alvarez in row number 8. Then we got Cody Lamas, Jessica Shelton in row number 9. And Michael Norman will start alongside Corey Williams in row number... Actually, we also got Johnny Gardner there. Johnny Gardner will start alongside Michael Norman in row number 10 and Corey Williams in row 11 by himself. They kind of faked me out there. Didn't get started as well as they like to, but they should be able to get it here in a moment.
The interesting thing is that it's supposed to be 80 laps, and it only is set to 51, so I don't...
Oh. That's an interesting little situation right there. We'll have to figure out what they decide to do. But, little bit of mistake there on their end. We'll have to see what they decide to do, and that might have been why Seth tried to come in at the beginning of the broadcast. But either way, we're still waiting to see what they will decide, if they will try to reset it or not. I do believe they should be able to adjust the amount of laps, which might be why they keep on resetting here, and they're trying to do that. But Carson, I know you've been in races before. Do they have the ability to do that, or will we have to reset this?
I'm not sure. They might have to reset this, but I'm sure they'll get it figured out soon enough.
All right, well, in the meantime, we'll show you guys the race info here for the 2020 NNSCRA Daytona 500. It's a scheduled 80-lap race, 200 miles here. The stages in this race will be 20 laps, and then 40 laps. Fuel and tire wear at 2x, so we will see some frequent pit stops in this race here tonight. And the game will be calling the cautions, calling the shots here tonight. And like we mentioned at the top of the show, there'll be realistic damage as well. And as you can see, they are going to have to reset it as they kicked us all out right there. But we will get into the race here in a moment and get started for the 2020 NNSCRA Daytona 500. But while we wait, I mentioned Tyler Mallon being a guy that's definitely a driver to watch out for, but what are you guys looking at here in this race for the 2020 Daytona 500?
Well, you can't count out the defending champion last year, Seth Cole. He is on the pole after all.
Well, was, at least. I don't know how they're gonna do that now, but I do have to agree, Seth Cole is a pretty good favorite, but so is Rob Evans, Johnny Garner, and Garrett North. Everyone in this field has a shot at this, and it's gonna be very entertaining and very fun to watch to see who will be able to get it done.
It definitely will. So we're on hold right now. I guess you can say we're under a rain delay right now. Let's call it that way. But they're gonna have to reset here, and they will eventually set it to the correct track. But we do apologize for this right now. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Maybe we'll get some insight on how all this is playing out. But in the meantime, I have to wait and see if Seth Cole does come in and say anything to us about this. So we might end up with a different starting lineup than what we had initially planned. But either way, now this is only game. We got somebody in here, Michael Norman.
It's me. I come up to inform you guys. I apologize for interrupting. We're having a little bit of issues with the server. It's supposed to be 80 laps, but for some reason it was only set to 51, so we're trying to work that out right now.
All right. Thank you for the update.
Just a heads up.
Mm-hmm.
Figured they weren't... While they were working on it, figured I'd at least let you know so you guys aren't fumbling up here.
All right, yeah. Well, thank you so much for letting us know there. And like I mentioned, everyone out there watching, we are on a hold. Issues with the server. We'll just call it a rain delay for now. We had one on the real-life Daytona 500, so why not have it here?
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, we definitely want to plug our sponsor, and Mari. I'll go ahead and pop their logo up there in the corner, and that's also where our scrolling ticker will be for the race. So I definitely thank them for sponsoring the track, or sponsoring the race, I should say. No track loaded popped up on my screen, and I said track. But as you can tell, no track is loaded yet, and that's because we don't have a track ready, because the server has been going through a few issues. But either way, a lot of excitement building for this event, And it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out here tonight at Daytona. But either way, you guys have anything to say while we continue to wait for the track to come back up?
Well, one thing I have to say is that since it's on realistic damage and not on monument like years past, I'm kind of curious of how many big ones we will see tonight, if there's only going to be one or two, because they might be more safe tonight than what they normally are.
It'll be interesting to definitely see how it plays out with that, and I'm curious as to how many cautions we're going to get. We've seen prior races before in online racing, especially if you've seen the past couple of Talladegas, especially the 2018 version. Even this race last year, many cautions coming. I know Carson mentioned before we went on the air that last year's race had 5 or 6 caution before the first stage even ended. Now, last year's race was a little bit longer than this year's, but still, whole idea of bringing in this realistic damage is to reduce the amount of cautions you might have. We're also going in-game cautions, so someone will not be. We got someone else back in here.
Mate, we got everything settled. Your guys.
All right, we should be good to go to pop back in.
We are redoing qualifying.
All right, so they will also be redoing qualifying. The cool thing that you guys are going to see, and we're going to keep that little rolling ticker up for you. You're going to see these guys clock their times in as they go along, so we'll keep that up for you. We won't necessarily be able to use the real ticker for that, but we might be able to, so we'll keep that up there as well. But definitely looking forward to see who gets the pole this time, which means I'm going to have to not use the starting lineup that we had from before. So disregard what we had at the top of the broadcast. That does not count because they have to redo qualifying. But like we mentioned, issues with the server. Unfortunately, the race was only set to 51 laps and not 84 as was planned. 84 also in there just in case we end up with overtime. But we do apologize for the delay, but we should be getting going here. I'd say we'll be racing in probably about 10 minutes or so to be my guess. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Once we do get going, it should be a great one here from Daytona.
Yeah, from what I heard, it's going to be set to 200 laps in the game, but it's still going to be realistically 84 laps and technically 80 laps still.
So, like we mentioned, it's going to be an 80-lap race here tonight for these guys at Daytona. So, no matter what lap, as long as it's more than 80 laps, we should be good here tonight in the 2020 NNSCRA Daytona 500.
And these qualifying times are going to be coming in pretty shortly, so we'll have to see.
They will be. We'll have to see who ends up with the pole this time. It would be really something if we ended up with a tie for the pole again. There are a few times right there that I have on my screen. Johnny Gardner, currently fastest, 49.978. Does appear that those are their first times, though. Andrew Lemke, Rob Evans, Tyler Mallon, Emmanuel Hartnett, Dylan Poteet, Ricky Johnson, Cody Lamas, and Phil Parker are the drivers in line at the moment. Now, usually you will not end up with every driver qualifying in these super speed races, and mainly it's because it's a super speed race. A lot of guys sometimes want to follow the back to start off, and especially tonight, considering we have that realistic damage, that's something a lot of these guys are going to want to do. Avoid the trouble early on so that you're in contention at the end of the event.
You can see there, Richard Johnson is going to be currently the pole sitter with a time of 49.716.
And there he goes. Just came up on my end right there. 49.716 for Ricky Johnson. Currently holds the fastest time. We'll have to see if he ends up with the pole position in this event here tonight. Of course, at the top of the show, we did everything set up, but the server had issues, and unfortunately, we were unable to get the race started with Seth Cole, who was originally going to be leading the field. I don't think that's going to be the case this time, and that's going to change everything up. I think strategies are going to change now that the starting lineup is going to be different than what initially was planned. So it's going to be interesting to see who ends up in victory lane at the end of all this. But should be ending qualifying here very soon. You can see the order there in the bottom right corner, and who's where. Not everyone qualifying. It does appear a lot of people are deciding to just let it go and start wherever the game puts them in the back of the field. They want to get this race started, and we should be able to get this race started here very shortly from Daytona. Once again, for anyone who just popped in, had issues with the server, unfortunately, did not have enough laps set, and they needed to reset the server for us to be able to have enough laps in tonight's event.
And, oh yeah. I just want to mention this. We have 5 manufacturers here tonight. Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Dodge, and a couple Hondas as well.
It'll be interesting to see how the manufacturers work together in this race. But definitely a lot of diversity in the manufacturers here tonight for the Daytona 500. More of a common thing in the online races. We'll have a lot of people going for this win here tonight.
And also, that's one thing I wish, was that Dodge came back and Honda joined, but that's why we have the fancy of, and right now, the Hondas, at least 2 of them, are 5th and 7th right now.
That's Johnny Gardner and Rob Evans there, both driving Hondas for this event here tonight. Only 10 drivers you can see have made time so far. I'd imagine
And
the rest
make that
of
11.
somebody else did clock in a time, I do believe.
Check and see which driver that is at time.
Might have been, I'm not sure. We have 11 who are on the leaderboard. I didn't notice any change there, but someone did change. So 11 drivers attempting a time here in qualifying, and it's a bit of an impromptu qualifying. Since they had to reset the server, but we're about to get started here from Daytona. And like I mentioned, when we had this whole issue initially, these guys, the anticipation's going to be up there, and I know these guys are going to be anxious to get this race started. So, do you guys think they're going to be aggressive to start out here, or do you think they're going to play it safe, knowing that realistic damage is in play?
Well, I hope they play it safe, certainly, because after last year's race, I'm not too certain people want to see a whole bunch of cautions back-to-back.
Yeah, very, very true. I think it's going to be a mix of both. They might be aggressive and they might be calm at the same time. By the way, once qualifying's over, we are going straight to the race. So no,
I'm glad they're doing that too. I think all 15 people watching right now are glad that we're gonna go right to racing as well. And they're gonna probably skip over happy hour and pop right in. 84 laps, as you see right there. The extra 4 laps are for the possibility of overtime in this race, but 80 laps is the scheduled ending here today at Daytona. So we're ready to get this one started finally. Once again, apologize for the delay, but we're ready to go racing here from the Daytona International Speedway. And the pole sitter is now the number 18 of Ricky Johnson, I do believe.
That is Andrew Lemke.
That's Andrew Lemke. I don't have the starting lineup anymore because it all reset. But definitely looking forward to seeing how this race all plays out here tonight from Daytona. So, there.
Actually, no, it
is.
It's Richard Johnson.
Ricky Johnson. That's what I thought. Took him a while to pop in. So Ricky Johnson and Tyler Mountain will be leading the field with the green flag. On the front row, Andrew Lemke now will be in the 3rd position. And then we have the number 96 of Shane Side starting in 4th. Number 50 is Johnny Gardner. He's alongside the number 83 of Emmanuel Hartnett. We got Rob Evans there in number 19. He's alongside Phil Parker in row number 4. David Alvarez will be alongside Cody Lamas in row number 5. Row number 6, Cameron Hartley alongside the number 42 of Charles Belding. On the inside there, number 9 of Dylan Poteet and Seth Cole. Then we got the 91 of Matt Rodriguez alongside the 45 of Christian Shaw. And then I believe the number 10 is alongside the 88, Dejan Weeks and Michael Norman. Followed by the 16 of Garrett Sonora and the 20 machine, driven by Jessica Shelton. TJ Crampton will be alongside Eric Rodriguez at the back of the field, and Corey Williams all by himself there starting in 21st. We'll go ahead and finally give you the race information here. 80 laps of action, 20 miles. The stages are 20, 20, and 40 laps. The fuel and tire wear is at 2 times, so they are going to be pitting frequently here tonight. In-game cautions, and the big one, realistic damage here for this one. And that might cause these guys to race a little bit less aggressive than they have in prior races. 21 drivers strong here tonight at the Daytona International Speedway. And we thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being patient with us after everything that went on earlier. But everything is set. 80 laps here tonight. Ricky Johnson and Tyler Mallon are going to lead us to the green flag. Guys, are you ready to start this one?
Heck yeah, let's do this.
All right, here we go. Pace car is going to pull off for green flag racing here at Daytona. The 2020 NNSCRA Daytona 500 is underway. Ricky Johnson will lead the field of the green flag. Let's have some fun on this Wednesday night in February.
Ooh, couple cars already on the apron going into turn 1.
Not entirely sure what's going on back there, but they could just be doing that to stay in the back of the pack in case a wreck occurs. But at the start of the race, well, am I not surprised? Tyler Mallon in the 08 going to the race lead with Ricky Johnson right behind him in the 93.
More cars on the apron falling back.
A lot of cars just decided to stay out of the mess up front and just fall back at the start of this race.
Yeah, and this is interesting. This is something that we're not surprised to seeing, because the fact that if you wreck out, your days are most likely going to be done, and these guys want to be careful at the start of this race. So I would imagine that we're not going to see many cautions here today, which is a great thing. These guys are going to race it out, but are they just going to ride along? That's the big question that we're going to see. Of course, Tyler Mallon, that's not necessarily a guy you want leading if you want to beat him. But nonetheless, Mallon leads early here at Daytona.
You can see that the group of cars that fell back have already slowly beginning to lose the draft.
And this number 40, he is really falling back right there. Number 40 machine of Cameron Hartley. And he has completely lost the draft. And you got the number 91 there, driven by Matthew Rodriguez. He's also at the back of the field. Oh, and somebody with an issue. 77, Jessica Shelton. Or, excuse me, that's Eric Rodriguez in the 77.
Oh, wow. What happened there?
Lots of damage on the 77 machine. I believe he was the only one involved in whatever occurred. But a tough break early on in the race, and you can tell that 77 is not going anywhere.
Let's see, I'm looking
Wow, he hit the inside wall hard out of turn 4.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, if he got loose or I don't know, but he hit that inside wall a
He was heading for pit road and just lost control and slammed the wall.
Yeah,
So I would imagine that they would have called
Either
a
way,
caution,
did
but
not
remember,
bring
it's
out the
in
caution
game, so
either.
no caution because he was not sideways or stopped on the racing surface. So keep in mind, we saw this happen with the Rolling in the New Decade special event a month ago, where we had that wreck off of turn number 2, and no caution occurred because of it, and they kept on going. As long as they're not stopped or sideways on the racing surface with drivers coming right at them, there's not going to be a caution called out for it, so they remain green. Such a tough break for Eric Rodriguez. He's going to be out of the race early on here in the 2020 NNSCRA Daytona 500. Tyler Mallon continuing the lead. Ricky Johnson right behind him. The 18 of Andrew Lemke. Shane Sides is 4th. Number 14 of Phil Parker is in 5th. Number 48 That car driven by Cody Lamas right there in the 6th position. The 10 machine of Dejan Weeks is on that inside as well. And then you got TJ Crampton there on the inside. Corey Williams started last for this race. He's already inside the top 10 in the number 8 machine. Great run for him so far here at Daytona.
And these guys, they are just widening it out. The top 10, all single file. Just a couple cars trying to lead the outside lane. And the leader of the outside lane is Rob Evans.
You see Corey Williams now trying to work that outside lane. He's going to get that help from Rob Evans eventually. Garrett Sonora also on that outside lane in the number 16.
Right up in front of Crampton.
Oh boy, that was a tight one right there. Didn't quite see that on screen, but apparently Corey Williams.
Phil Parker.
Phil Parker pulling out in the 14.
He's going to lose some spots there.
We'll have to see how that affects him as the race goes along. But single file throughout the majority of the field. And with what we saw with Eric Rodriguez, and unfortunately we did not get a replay of that accident. We will give you a replay once we get the opportunity. But all these guys running single file, just trying to race it out and ride it out until the end of the first stage, which will be at lap number 20.
One thing that I might want to mention is that last year I'm pretty sure it was on Cup Visits. This year it's CTS. So
and that is true. So a higher downforce package for these guys. The closing rate's going to be a lot more. That'll definitely play into who gets this race victory and how well they maneuver this racetrack here tonight. Only one driver has really lost the pack, and that is the number 40 machine of Cameron Hartley. Eric Rodriguez is out of the race. In the number 77, you see Matthew Rodriguez at the end of the pack. These guys have actually lost the draft. Number 88 of Michael Norman. David Alvarez in the 68. The 42 machine of Charles Belding. The 50 of Johnny Gardner and the 91 of Matthew Rodriguez. But the rest of the field all still in this single file line up front. Tyler Mallon has led every lap so far here in tonight's event. And when this race gets down to the end, do you think anyone's going to try anything on the 08? I understand they're not going to do that now because it's early on in the race and it's too early to be making a move like that. But what do you think these guys are going to do once they get to the end of the race if Tyler Mallon is leading the field?
Well, of course, they're probably going to be more aggressive as it gets to the nitty-gritty. And we know that the big one is always looming over these super speedways.
Yeah, the big one's bound to happen. But the question is, will it happen in Stage 1, Stage 2, or will they somehow be calm enough and have it happen in Stage 3?
Let's hope that it's near the end of the race, if it happens. We'll have to see how it all plays out, though. Garrett Sonora trying to work the outside lane right there with Rob Evans behind him. Phil Parker on that outside lane. No caution yet in this race, which is something you don't often see in a race like this, but of course, the realistic damage, these guys are going to be playing it extra safe early on here tonight at Daytona. But Sonora's going to try something here, and I think I'm seeing Sonora and Rob Evans trying to work something on that outside lane, and they're trying to get something to work now. Because if you don't know how to do it at the end of the race, you might not have a shot at the race victory, and these guys are trying to work that outside lane to their advantage, but with only 2 cars up there, it is difficult to do so, and I don't see them moving up through the field anytime soon, especially considering they know they're going to get that caution in lap number 20. They are definitely going to race it clean until then because there is no reason to race hard this early on in the race.
We do know who could use a caution before the end of the stage. That's Cameron Hartley in the 40. He's still on the back straigable.
Yeah,
only doing high
that number 40 is really slow, and by the looks of it, it's looking like they could surpass him possibly.
Yeah, the 40 car has no help whatsoever, and he's not even going 180 miles per hour, but that second pack they're going 190 all by themselves, and his lead pack's going 190 plus, so if he's not careful he might go a lap down, but I would assume that if he goes a lap down then he would probably get the lucky dog at the end of the stage.
Yeah, so the only driver out of the race is Eric Rodriguez, and we saw what happened to him there, and we will, of course, replay that accident once we get the opportunity. Most likely it'll be during the stage break Corey Williams going to try something on the outside lane. He peeked out ahead of Travis Crampton, and he's going to try to get some help from Garrett Sonora in the outside lane. But fell back there, and Crampton going to gain a position in the 46 machine.
I'm seeing this 93 and the 08. They're doing a pretty just of that. Luckily he hasn't turned that 08 of Tyler Mallon yet.
Yeah, and I'm imagining that bump drafting would be legal. Of course, it's very difficult to do, but if you know how to do it...
Oh, crash!
We got a wreck, and that's Corey Williams, Garrett Sonora, and Rob Evans.
Two cars upside down. That's the...
Seth Cole also caught up a little bit. Not much damage on the 78, but Sonora's going to be done. Same with Rob Evans, and that's the danger you have at trying to make that move on the outside this early on. They were trying to get something to work, but it doesn't look like any of them are going to have a shot at the race victory. Rob Evans all torn up there. Tough break for him in the number 19. Tough break for Garrett Sonora as well. Sonora is done.
They race back to the line. Tyler Mallon will take the caution flag just barely over Richard Johnson. You know who could have used that caution the most? He really needed it. That was the 40 of Cameron Hartley, who they were about, the field was about to catch up to, but before that caution.
Yeah, Cameron Hartley will be able to get back in the lead lap. Have a shot at rejoining the draft as well, but I think that strategy played out, worked pretty well for him, and with that, Cameron Hartley is still in this thing with a clean race car, and that might be the key to winning this race, is not getting involved in an accident. Of course, it took us 12 laps before we got one, but we'll have to see what happened to Rob Evans and Garrett Sonora here in a moment. We'll go ahead and do that right now, since it is only a 2-lap caution period. But,
Just saying, it's a weird looking crash of how it happened.
We'll go ahead and replay it for you
looks like
guys
we
to
had
see how all this went
warp
down.
Going on. Warp with the 8 car, Corey Williams.
And sometimes these folks do have issues with warping, and that's a bad internet connection. Oh, yeah. And he just warped. And you can tell he goes away there, and then all of a sudden he's in it with Sonora and Rob Evans. Seth Cole getting caught up. That actually didn't really give us much of a good angle. We'll follow with Sonora on this one. Number 16 did not warp in this situation. And you see, oh, wow. He warped right into Sonora and sent him around. And then came back and all of that. Seth Cole just spun. No damage on the 78 as far as I can tell. Well, what a tough break there for Sonora and Rob Evans.
78 was certainly close to going over.
The Seth Cole did get
oh, there is. Yeah, you're right. There's a bit of damage on the 78 machine.
The 45 bumped him when Seth Cole was braking.
But Seth Cole should be able to continue. I don't know how fast he will go. And one more incident that we did have, it involved Eric Rodriguez in the 77. And we did not get a good opportunity to see this as it happened live. But the 77 going off in turn 4 and hitting the inside wall hard. And I don't know what happened here. It looks like he was trying to come down the pit lane, and while he was doing so, he just lost it. Ran right into the inside wall and destroyed the front end of that race car. It's a tough break there for the 77 machine, but unfortunately, that's the way it goes sometimes here at Daytona. Tyler Mallon continuing the lead. Not anymore. Ricky Johnson, I believe. Nope. Not Ricky. Well, Ricky Johnson did beat him, but I believe Shane Sides and Emmanuel Hartnett
to be the leader.
I believe the lights are off the pace car, so we will be going back to green this time by, which is why we reviewed the accident when we did. Don't have that much of an opportunity to review.
Crash!
Oh,
turn 4.
Yes,
Garrett Sonora spun going to pit road and hit the wall.
And that's just adding on to the drama that team has been going through here tonight. Quickly see what happened to him here. Yeah, I don't know. This is very similar to what Eric Rodriguez had earlier on. Of course, Sonora was able to spin it, and he wasn't going near as fast.
He was shifting down.
Yeah, he shifted down, I think. You're right.
And just spun.
Well, back to racing. Shane Sides, the race leader in the 96, alongside Emmanuel Hartnett. Not entirely sure how that occurred. We'll have to see when my ticker updates here if they did in fact come down the pit lane or not. But we got Rob Evans here coming off. I would imagine Evans is going to stay on the apron and let these guys drive by it. But everyone coming down the pit lane, including Shane Sides and Emmanuel Hartnett. So everyone did get a pit stop right there. And Shane Sides won the race off the pit lane. He is your new race leader in the number 96.
And just an update, Garrett Nor has brought it back behind the wall. He is done for the day in 21st. In addition to Corey Williams, who is going to finish out of the race in 22nd.
It was a tough break for those guys. They had such a good opportunity, and they were definitely working to get something to work on that outside lane, and unfortunately they were unable to keep it together. And Corey Williams, a warp issue. Those are tough things because there's things that are really out of your control. It's almost like an engine failure in real life. Never know when it could happen, and unfortunately it happened to Corey Williams, and it's going to take out Garrett Sonora. But everyone else still on the racetrack. Rob Evans 1 lap down, but the rest of the field still on the lead lap. That is the 45 of Christian Shaw. Black flag for him. Not entirely sure what the case is for him, but he is down the pit lane servicing his race car at the moment. Lap 16 of 84. End of the stage is lap number 20. The caution will come out on lap number 19, I believe, or either lap 19 or lap 20, one of the two. They'll come out down the backstretch and they will race back to the line. That's how they're going to do it for the end of the first stage.
4 laps to go in this first stage, and it's Shane Sides, Johnson, Mallon, Clampton, and Lamas the top 5.
And they are coming up on lap traffic, I do believe. That is the 45 of Christian Shaw, who was servicing a penalty. And we got TJ Crampton making a move on the inside. Help from Cody Lamas right there. They're going to leave Tyler Mallon out to dry, and they're getting squirrely. Ricky Johnson's going to try on the outside.
Very close.
Now Crampton's going to move up another position. He's going to go up to the 2nd position. Corey Williams, or should I say Cody Lamas. I had this problem when we did the last race. Couldn't get him straight. Cody Lamas there in 3rd now as he's pushing Crampton to the inside. Ricky Johnson and Tyler Mallon falling behind on that outside lane at the moment.
3 laps to go. That lap caused some drama, just as what we thought. And that caused 2 people, Mallon and Johnson, to fall behind.
Thankfully, it is early on in the race for those drivers, but still a little bit of a frustrating incident for those guys as they were trying to get around Christian Shaw in the 45 machine. Shaw and Evans are both a lap down at this point, with Garrett Sonora, Corey Williams, and Eric Rodriguez out of the race. Going to be 2 laps to go in stage number 1 when we come back around to take lap number 19. Shane Sides continuing to lead in the number 96. Travis Crampton staying behind him. We'll have to see if Crampton tries to make a move for the stage win.
Of course, there's no points necessarily, but at the same time, you want to be credited with stage 1 win of the Daytona 500, so it depends on what you want to do here.
Looks like these guys are trying to work an outside lane right there. The number 10 machine, Dejon Weeks, with Emmanuel Hartnett, Tyler Mallon on the outside lane. Hartnett's going to move back to the inside, and now they're going to leave Weeks out to dry in the number 10. He's trying to work that outside. Not enough room right there. Emmanuel Hartnett going to move
on
up.
The inside out of 4, but couldn't make it happen as we have the white flag for stage 1.
1 lap to go in stage 1 here in the NNSCRA Daytona 500. Remember, an 80-lap race here. Shane Sides continuing to lead. Will Crampton trying to make a move? It might be a good test session to see if you can make that run on somebody if you're behind him in the line. They got to be careful. Cody Lamas has all the advantages right there in that outside lane, and they're getting that outside lane to work.
Slicing and dicing.
Manuel Hartnett, Tyler Mallon, those are strong drivers to have behind you. And now Hartnett's going to try to make a move on the outside. They're 3 wide. They got to be careful here. Coming to the line for the stage 1 win, side by side at the line. It's going to be Shane Sides, barely edging out Cody Lamas.
Just splitter.
for the win in Stage 1 here in the Daytona 500. That's the best thing we've seen all day.
And the difference was 13 1/1000ths of a second for the stage win.
My
13 1/1000.
goodness.
Wow. Wow.
Well, hey. You know what was great about that? They didn't wreck. The real-life Cup guys couldn't even do that last week. And this is an NR 2003 race, and they didn't even wreck. All you gotta do is set realistic damage on, and they're not gonna wreck. Of course, we did have that issue, but that was only because of a warping issue. None of the incidents today have necessarily been because of contact, so kudos to these guys for that awesome finish in Stage 1. They did a heck of a job there keeping everything together as they're waiting for the pace car, doubling up here for the restart, and they're going to get the restart right away. I believe green flag on lap 22, coming to 23, I believe?
I believe so.
All right. So, thoughts on that first stage, guys? Obviously, they can make a run on that outside lane. Do you think when we get to the end of the race they're going to do that earlier on than on the final lap, or do you think they're going to do it a couple laps before the finish of this race?
Well, certainly what I noticed that race was that first stage was very few wrecks that involved contact, as you said earlier. We had one warp and one car that out of 4 just looked like something broke on the car. So it's fortunate these guys are definitely thinking smarter this time around.
Coming down for their second pit stop of the night, Shane Side, stage winner. You know what would be cool? If the cautions were a little bit longer, we could interview the stage winners, but don't have enough time for that, unfortunately. Shane Side's going to come down the pit lane right here. And I would imagine, he missed, he overshot his pit stall, so that's going to hurt him there. Looks like a lot of these guys are taking fuel only.
And
Malin.
Like,
oh my!
Just beat out Crampton.
And I mean, just beat him out.
Wow.
Almost got into the 46 right there of Travis Crampton. That was close.
I'm surprised that they didn't make contact off the pit road.
But those guys only took fuel.
The majority of these guys, I think, only took fuel. Shane Sides overshot his pit stall. That's what happened to him.
I believe I did see at least one car that took some tires. Yeah, the 20 of Jessica Shelton looks like she got 4 fresh good years.
And she's at the back of the field in number 20. Haven't seen much of her so far in this race, but still clean. And I think that's definitely a massive thing. You want to have a clean race car in this race. Number 9 as well, also clean, Dylan Potey. A lot of these guys have kind of been hanging in the back. They were not part of that awesome finish that we had, but they're hoping to be part of the actual finish of this race at lap number 80. I believe the lights are off on the pace car, and it's now back to Tyler Mallon leading this field. He's led the most laps so far at 13. Shane Sides has led 7 laps, and Emmanuel Hartnett, I believe, when they were coming down the pit lane under the first caution, ended up with a lap led as well. Only 3 drivers to lead so far. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Christian Shaw might be coming down the pit lane here in the 45.
No, he will be EOL.
And he's going to the end of the line. And they are going to go back to racing here. They always got to wait for the guys to come back up to speed behind them. Either way, we're back to racing. Lap 23 of 84. And Mallon's going to get the jump.
2.
Yeah, stage 2.
45's on the apron there.
And Christian Shaw making sure that he doesn't get black flagged again. Shaw is still a lap down. Rob Evans is
4 laps down.
4 laps down. So he's had a tough day so far. Mallon continuing to lead this race in the 08. He won the race off the pit lane. Now he's got Travis Crampton behind him in the 46 and the number 18 of Andrew Lemke with Ricky Johnson and Cody Lamas. Cody Lamas almost winning that first stage. And I do believe lap 40 will be the end of stage 2, if I'm not mistaken.
42, I believe.
Lap 42, all right. They're doing a little bit differently than in real life, so it is a true 20-lap stage under green, hopefully under green. Knock on wood right there. But these guys have done a great job tonight, and hopefully they can keep that up until the end of the race here at Daytona.
Yeah, so far, clean and green. No contact crashes yet. But I think they might be a little bit more aggressive here in the second stage. But definitely in stage 3, with 2 laps to go, that's when they're going to get really aggressive.
Yep, once you get down to the stage 3, all bets are off.
So Mallon continuing the pace of the field right now. Shane Sides is in the middle of this pack right now, running 7th at the moment. It's gotta hurt for Shane Sides a little bit. He had that stage win, an awesome stage win for Shane Sides. It was spectacular, and he's got to feel good about pulling that off, but on the same side, you know, you go and then you miss your pit stall. Of course, it didn't hurt him that much, thankfully, but you can't make a mistake like that late in the race and expect to win. So maybe it's a good thing it happened early on for Shane Sides. Learn from that mistake and hopefully not do it later on in the race. Got some guys on the outside trying to form a lane. Charles Belding, Jessica Shelton, the 88 there as well of Michael Norman. And Shane Sides moved up there to get that outside lane to work.
Well, maybe not.
Belding and Sides go down to the inside, leaving the 20 up to dry.
So Shelton's going to fall back. You got Phil Parker in the 14 on the inside. Right behind him, Dejon Weeks. Looks like Shelton's going to try to peek on the inside and file in. And same will go for Shane Sides. Number 40 has joined the lead draft. That is Cameron Hartley. They have very similar race cars, and I'm getting them confused. Cameron Hartley is back in contention for this thing. Of course, you remember before the first caution that we had when we had the warping issue with Corey Williams and Garrett Sonor, he had completely lost the draft, and if that thing stayed green, he would have ended up falling a lap down. But now he's on the lead lap in the lead draft with a shot at this race victory. And staying in the back, but that's what you want to do. You want to avoid an accident, and that's why these guys are single file. Like we mentioned at the top of the show, realistic damage is on, so if they wreck, they're most likely going to be out of the race, so they can't be as aggressive as they are in other events that we have. So only one caution for contact, and that was only because of a warping issue, so these guys have done a fantastic job, and hopefully they continue to do that throughout the night.
Yeah, very true. Just did a little bit of a check. There's 17 drivers in this lead pack, and then there's a separate pack with only 3 cars.
Yeah, the 3-car pack back in here. That's Christian Shaw, who's a lap down. The 19 of Rob Evans, who's 4 laps down. Actually, excuse me, Christian Shaw has regained his lap. So he is actually back on the lead lap. And Johnny Garner also back in here as well, but everyone else is in this lead draft, single file.
42 has problems, going to be dropping back, it looks
Yeah,
like.
the 42 has a lot of warp, it sounds like.
Yeah, we saw what happened with that warping issue with Corey Williams earlier on, so Belding does not want to be the guy who causes an accident because of that, so he's going to fall to the back of the field. It's going to split the pack up a little bit. But these guys are very content with where they're running right now, and I would imagine they're going to be content until we get to the end of that stage. And with what we saw in Stage 1, I would imagine we're going to see these guys try something very similar in Stage number 2.
Yeah,
Not
probably.
too crazy to cause a wreck.
You can go ahead.
Ricky Johnson in 4th, Cody Lamas in 5th. In the same top 5, pretty much this entire stage. And the checkered flag in stage number 2 will be lap 42 of this event. Not much going on out there, but that's a good thing. We want these guys to be in contention when this race ends. It looks like Cameron Hartley's going to fall back just a little bit there and head to the back of the field. David Alvarez in the number 68. I made so many jokes about Carter Friesen, Scheme, and Holodega. I feel the same about this, but it's not as bad as Carter's Scheme. Works all right with Coca-Cola, but still, you got to put the numbers on the side.
Whoa,
And
look
the
out!
40,
Oh,
the 40's lost it. Cameron Hartley in the outside wall.
Hard.
Thankfully, he was the only one involved, and we were focusing on David Alvarez there as that was all going on, and Cameron Hartley just lost it.
Luckily, no one else was involved, but that's a hard whip for that 40 car.
It is some damage, but I do believe he'll be able to continue. I'm not seeing massive damage on the 40 machine, but that's a tough break for him right there. No caution. Was not sideways or stopped on the racing surface, so we remain green here at Daytona.
And
I'm not sure what happened to that 40. He lost and almost flipped over going into one.
yeah.
He did. That was wild there for the number 40 machine. Been a tough day for him, but he's still plugging away. It looks like the second pack might pick him up here, with Christian Shaw still leading here in the second pack. Those guys are now 16 seconds off the race lead. They're not. I don't think they're going to have to worry about getting lapped in this stage, but they might still end up getting in the way of our leaders if they go slow enough. We'll have to see how it all goes down for them. 11 laps to go in stage number 2. And Mallon has led the most laps. 22 of the 32 laps we have had here tonight have been led by this guy, Tyler Mallon. Just like it was in Talladega. Do you think we're going to see Mallon in victory lane later tonight, or will somebody else make that move? I mean, we saw what Cody Lamas did earlier on. You know it's possible someone could get a run on that outside lane.
Whoa, trouble behind
We
him!
got a big wreck down the backstretch.
Oh, it's the big
Huge
one.
Shane Sides,
Yeah.
Dejon Weeks.
Oh, one car, two cars flipping. Dejon Weeks.
And the
Shane
88,
Sides, the
88
stage
machine
one
of Michael
winner.
Norman spun to
He's
the
involved-
inside. He's got damage. I'm not sure who
Michael
went
Norman.
flipping.
Like Matthew Rodriguez.
Minimal damage on Shane Sides, it does appear. And the
got
number
his
10
out.
machine of Dejon Weeks doesn't look too bad for him either, but somebody, I think, went off there. And you see Michael Norman with damage, a lot of rear-end damage to the 88 machine. That's a tough break for him. We'll have to go back and see what happened, or third caution of the night. And only our second for a wreck, so still a great job out of these guys, but I'm not entirely sure how that all
Like
went
a
down.
Hartnett checked up on the 96, and
Yeah.
96 tried to slow down, but he couldn't in time and lost it.
Yeah, and Hartnett is gone. I don't know where he went, but he's not on the racetrack anymore, so we'll have to see. Yeah, and then this was kind of a surprise because these guys were going single file, and all of a sudden I see Shane Sides going around in the 96, and all heck's breaking loose down the backstretch. Hartnett here, we're going to follow with him. Oh, Cody Lombas checked up slightly, and Hartnett checked up. Oh, and he really checked up. And then a hard hit. Michael Norman probably took the hardest hit there. Hartnett's done. But then the number 10 machine also went around. He took a couple of hard hits there. Shane Sides got a lot of damage from Michael Norman and all that. Replay this again. And the 88 had nowhere to go.
A lot of the guys had nowhere to go. Most of them didn't.
So the 83 here, all of a sudden, he just
Shelton
stops. And Shane Sides does not
Shelton
expect that
got a
Dejon
little
Weeks
bit of
gets
damage,
caught
but
up.
it looks like she's okay.
And Shelton, I think she avoided this one. Phil Parker hit the outside wall. And then you see right there, Michael Norman run into the 96 machine. Other than that, I think everyone else avoided it, and a lot of these guys only gained minimal damage. I don't think Shane Sides has too much damage. Hartnett's going to be out. And then Michael Norman, you see him spinning. Oh, he hit the inside wall as well. Phil Parker also took a hard hit. We really didn't focus on him that much in the 14, but he did take a hard hit to that outside wall.
And whoa, contact on pit road. Guys are coming to pit.
And it does appear that Andrew Lemke has won the race off in the number 18. So things shaking up
Pit
here.
road, the 46 and the 08 made contact.
It's almost that. You know, they had a moment
08 was
during the
pulling out of
last
the stall
one.
and didn't see the 46.
Yeah, we'll
Didn't
replay it
affect him,
here.
though, as they both appear to be going. They saved it. But
Yeah,
who
Crampton
won off
had
of pit
finished his
road is
pit
my
stop. And there was contact between Mallon and Crampton there.
Honestly,
Mallon
I
did a
think-
similar thing in that last pit stop. He cut him off. going to be
Yeah.
interesting to see how those guys take it as this race goes along, but that was another close one there between Mallon and Crampton off the pit lane. But Andrew Lemke won the race off. As we're coming to the restart, we will have ourselves, if we do the math here, I believe 8 laps to go in this stage. For stage number 2, I believe Emmanuel Hartnett is out of the race. Oh, he actually is not. He's a lap down. And he got back out there, so good for Emmanuel Hartnett. But he is still a lap down, but he could get the free pass, especially considering we got another stage coming up, and it doesn't appear to be much damage on that 83, so we'll have to see what Hartnett can do. He might actually have a shot at still winning this thing. David Alvarez is 3 laps down. Don't remember him being involved in the accident. Michael Norman, no surprise there, he took the worst of that one, is out of the race. Tough break for Michael Norman in the 88. Back to racing. Oh brother.
Jeez.
Mallon didn't get going.
Lots of chaos on that restart.
Mallon did not get going.
3 wide behind him.
And they're trying to get around Rob Evans as well, and Rob Evans has a bunch of damage. I'm wondering if that was the cause for those guys splitting up there on the restart. My goodness. Been a wild one so far. Ricky Johnson has taken the lead. They have surpassed Lemke and Crampton back in second. Crampton's been in second a majority of this race, and that's a good position to be in. He needs to be content with being the second in hand here today at Daytona.
Yeah, just keeping it nice and calm, and he's been doing a good job of whoever's been in front of him so far tonight, not pushing them the wrong way. In fact, everyone has for the most part here tonight. And right
Seth
before
Cole going into one, falling back, trying to
I was gonna
pick up the rest of the field. It looks like.
Yeah, I was gonna mention Seth Cole. He was inside the top 5 because of all that chaos, but then he fell back on the outside lane.
And he's still in this pack. Charles Belding still in this thing. The number 9 haven't talked about.
He's gonna do the same thing. Falls to 8.
Number 9 machine there. We haven't talked about Pochi that much here tonight, but he's still in this thing. Same with the 91 as well. And the 91 machine, Matthew Rodriguez. Been having a quiet night, and that's what you want at this point in this race. Ricky Johnson continuing to lead. The stage end, like I mentioned, will be lap number 42. And we're on lap 37 right now, so 5 laps before we get to the finish of the stage. And if it's going to be anything like the first stage, you're going to want to stick around and see what happens. Crampton, that's a tough position to be in, and you got someone behind you pushing you,
definitely trying,
and you don't want to push the guy ahead of you and spin him around. I mean, what do you do in that situation?
Yeah, it's tough to be there. You just gotta be content with where you are, especially this early in the race.
Yeah,
Yo, somebody peeling off. That is Phil Parker in the 14. Not entirely sure what's going on there, but remember, he did take a hard hit to the outside wall when we had that last accident, so I'm wondering if the damage is possibly catching up to him. They're bunching up here.
What?
Cody Lamas, brother.
Contact!
I believe Mallon might have gotten into him there, and it almost sent the 48 around, but thankfully he saved it. Mallon's now going to try to work that outside lane with Lemke behind him. They're starting to mount a charge on Ricky Johnson and Travis Crampton.
Yeah, that was Crampton who actually looks like he just got tight and got up into the 48. Almost wrecked him.
We'll have to see how these guys can play it out. John Weeks there in the 10 with Jessica Shelton, Seth Cole, Dylan Poteet, and Matthew Rodriguez. And then you got Belding and Hartnett at the end. It looks like Christian Shaw has lost the draft. And then you got these guys, the 50 machine. Haven't seen much of Johnny Gardner here tonight. He's kind of sticking with those guys in the back, but a lot of those guys in the back have been involved in some sort of incident here tonight. Phil Barker coming down the pit lane. And he is going to lose a lap right there. He might end up losing 2 laps. Not entirely sure how many he's behind at the moment. Might only lose 1 lap. I believe it was just a couple laps ago when he tried to come down the pit lane. Ricky Johnson continuing the lead, coming to now 3 laps to go at the line.
A 6-car breakaway, and then a 3, 4, 5-car path that are not really bunched up together, but they're trying to catch up with these top 6, and they might end up having a 1 here with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, and I believe they will, and we're going to have to see how they maneuver this whole thing. I watch out for Malin. I think he's going to be a guy who's going to try for this stage win running there in the 3rd position. Well, Crampton giving a good push to Ricky Johnson, keeping him up front. That's a really good push right there out of the 46. One thing you got to mention, too, I really don't know how much of an effect it actually is, but Crampton is running a Camaro, and I believe that's the old Camaro, so it's not a flat nose like some of these other cars. I don't know how much of a factor that is in this game, but it might still be a factor when you're doing bump drafting here at Daytona.
You see Tyler Malin there try to run on the outside, and it looks like he might get that run this time.
Well, he's got some help there from Andrew Lemke.
BJ Crampton.
And now Cody Lamas, he had a hard run there on Andrew Lemke, had to back it down and peek to the inside, and Lemke is now going to get
now they have to fall back in.
sent on the outside lane.
Tough break for the 18, got stuck on the outside line, and everyone went inside.
Bob's Crampton, every time he comes off a 2, he gets...
Ooh, what a move!
Oh, throws the block on him on the
Wow,
outside.
Malin, and now they're going to go 3 wide
lead
for the race lead. Oh, brother.
Wow, that
Malin.
Malin.
Oh, man, that's
man.
Oh, boy. It's a mad move right there out of the
Move right
08.
there.
Crampton had a run on Johnson, tried to peek to the outside. Malin faked it,
And look who's
and
back
now you
up
got
here.
Cody Lamas on the outside, trying to go for a charge, and look at who's behind him. The guy who won the first stage. Shane Sides in the 96. White flag in stage 2. Who's gonna
man.
get it here at Daytona? Malin forcing the inside right there. Dejon Weeks. Remember, Weeks was behind that pack, and he regained it, now up to 2nd. Will he have a shot at this stage win? He's looking. And I don't think there's enough room for him to get to the inside of Malin. Lamas has lost the help there from the 96. The only chance of Malin not winning the stage is if Dejon Weeks gets help from Crampton on the outside. They might try something. They are going to try something, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Turn there. Whoa!
And Malin will lead at the caution at the end of Stage 2. Tyler Malin, your Stage 2 winner here at Daytona in the NNSCRA Daytona 500.
Stage number 1 was won by the 96 Toyota, and then stage number 2 was won by the 08 Toyota. So Toyota sweeps the stages in the Daytona 500 for 2020.
But will they win the race? That's the big question. But a great run there for Tyler Malin, and oh brother, that
He might be the guy to beat, because every time that he races these super speedways, he's always amazing, and that was incredible.
it was. And I gotta tell you, I'm gonna say this right now. I know we're only halfway through this race, but it's probably one of the best decisions that the race officials made to make realistic damage for this race. Because let me tell you, I'm pretty sure both of the accidents we have had so far have only been because of mechanical or warping issues. They are racing really good, but at the same time, they're not wrecking. And I know we're only at the end of the 2nd stage. It's not as much as the finish of the race, but let me tell you, I think we're going to be in store for one heck of a finish here in less than 40 laps.
I think we will, and who knows, maybe, depending on how this race, the rest of this race goes, maybe they will use this kind of setting for the rest of the races. I would totally down for that.
So I will
These guys are
say
gonna come down
this.
pit road this time.
And they're coming down the pit lane now. They will have to make at least
Looks
one
like
more
everyone's
stop.
gonna come this.
Yeah, they're gonna have to at least make one,
Ooh, contact there between
maybe
Lemke.
2 pit stops.
Yeah, a
in
little bit of
that last
smoke right
stage.
there, or dust I should say, but everyone getting on pretty cleanly.
We should also point out the 14 of Phil Parker got the lucky dog and will be on the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, and we saw the issue that Phil Parker had. Ricky Johnson having difficulty getting into his pit stall there. Oh boy, we got a bit of a problem here. Shane Sides completely
3
missed
wide.
his stall again.
Trying to race out.
Contact!
Oh, look out!
Dejon Weeks and Tyler Malin. Crampton just
Crampton
drove away
leads
from
the
those
race out of
guys.
pit road.
Shane Sides, I think he completely missed his pit stall. I don't think he ended up with a pit stop. We'll have to see how that affects the 96 machine, but Not exactly what Shane Sides wants or Tyler Mallon. I mean, they've been having some issues coming off the pit lane right there. Dejan Weeks was there, and Mallon ran right into him.
Shane's size just missed his pit box.
Yeah.
Yeah, he overshot.
I mean, he was well past it. You see the 46 there of Crampton. He drives right by Weeks. Crampton's going to be the race leader. There's Cody Lamas, and they're coming off 3 wide, and Mallon's, I'm not trying to be critical here, but Mallon's been doing this where he cuts all the way to the right as he exits his pit stall. Been doing that a lot, and I think that's been causing the issues there. Not entirely sure what's going on, but like you mentioned, Shane Sides completely missed his pit stall, so he's going to have to come back down. And they're coming back to the green flag, so he's going to be on a bad strategy compared to all these guys. He is short on fuel compared to everyone else.
He actually ended up coming back after getting spun on the back straightaway, and have that happen, that's just a slap in the face.
He's still in contention. Maybe a quick caution. He'll be back in this thing. Either way, Travis Crampton, Tyler Mallon, Ricky Johnson, Dejan Weeks, Cody Lama, Shane Sides, Andrew Lepke, Dylan Poteet, and then you got Jessica Shelton and Matthew Rodriguez. That's the top 10 right now. Crampton, the race leader, help from Ricky Johnson. Of course, those two guys were definitely helping each other out earlier on in the race. Now, they're going to leave Mallon out to dry. Mallon falling all the way back to 5th. Been having a little bit of trouble on the restarts there. I'm not entirely sure what's been going on, but we saw that on the last restart where he fell behind. We got the number 9 on the outside lane here. That is Dylan Poteet. No help.
Well, who's ready for 40 more laps in the Daytona 500 here tonight at Daytona?
Well, it's going to be less than 40 laps because the end of the race is lap number 80. We're on lap 45, coming to 35 laps to go in the Great American Race for the NNSCRA. Travis Crampton leading the field in the All-American Food 46 Chevrolet Camaro. We'll have to see if he can do it. But what we've seen in these finishes of the stages, I think we're bound for a wild finish here tonight in the Daytona 500.
Well, actually, not to, be picky, but, because of the stages and stuff, we went green on that 45, so the end of the race will be on that 84.
All right.
So
listen to Nathan. He's better at this than I am. He's got better information. No, I wasn't. I was a little confused on how they were going to do that. So with that in mind, I will get rid of that little thing that says 80-lap race because we are officially going to lap 84. So my apologies there for that misinformation. But the time you see there on the lap count, that is what is official. And we are racing to lap 84. Still 30... Oh, boy. I don't know if I can do the math on this one. I think 38 laps to go. Coming to 37, I should say, when we cross the line next time by. Thanks to our sponsor, Amari, for sponsoring us here for the 2020 NNSCRA Daytona 500. Go ahead and check them out. Travis Crampton leading the field in the 46, with Ricky Johnson behind him in second.
And I will say this, whoever wins this race, I do believe gets a custom t-shirt as well.
That's pretty cool.
The race sponsor, so that's really, really cool. And a quick side note on Travis Crampton, that 46 is a quote-unquote NS racing car, so feeling pretty good out there for that 46 team. But this 93 doing one heck of a job as well. These two have been working together the entirety of stage 2, and looks like that's the game plan, at least for now, to start stage 3.
Travis Crampton there, of course, you're co-owner of that car, so I know you're a little excited about him leading this thing, but we've got a lot of solid guys. And Mallon's a guy you cannot count out as Shane Sides, and remember, he missed his pit stall in that last caution. It's a tough break for Shane Sides. He was hoping for a quick yellow to come out. Unfortunately, not the case for him, and he's most likely going to end up a lap down if things play out a certain way. However, if he is the first driver one lap down, he will get the free pass. We still have ourselves, say, roughly about 15 guys on the lead lap. I can check on here. 16 guys in the lead lap. If you include Shane Sides, Shane Sides will most likely, if we do end up with a caution, be the first guy 1 lap down. So if we do get a caution, that's the thing. We might not end up with another caution in this race. It is very possible that could be the case. But Shane Sides not out of this yet. If he gets a caution to fall his way and can get back on with the strategy of everybody else, he'll be good. I mean, everyone else is still going to have to make another stop, at least another stop. Remember, the fuel usage is 2x for these guys, so it's twice as frequent as it is normally. So I imagine these guys are probably going to have about 20-lap fuel runs, so they're definitely going to have to make at least one more stop here tonight in the Daytona 500.
I'm going to notice that Shane Sides did go fuel only on that stop.
Oh.
And he will remain on the lead lap for now. We'll have to see, though, if he can stay there, because these guys entering turn 3, Shane Sides just now exiting turn 4, so they are going to lap him most likely. And this will actually be the first time tonight, actually, excuse me, the second time tonight we have seen the lead field come up on a lap car. They did so earlier with, I believe, it was Christian Shaw, I believe, they were getting around, and obviously, we saw what happened there. Some guys getting caught behind because of that. But Shane Sides, hopefully, he just lets these guys go. And hopefully, these guys can continue the race on nice and clean here at Daytona.
And the big thing is that because Shane Sides decided to pit later on because of that mistake on pit road, he's going to be able to stay out a few laps longer if we end up being green flag pit stops in this race.
But the only disadvantage Shane Sides has is that he's most likely not going to be part of the draft, only unless he does rejoin with these guys, and that actually might be the case here, so he might not end up losing too much time, but I don't think he'll end up cycling to the lead. So I think these guys are going to have that advantage. But he does rejoin the pack. He'll go right back in with these guys, but he is a lap down in the number 96.
But definitely not race over for him. If we could easily get a quick caution, late caution in general, and get his lap back. And we know that he has a fast Coca-Cola Toyota, and that can count for that race win.
Jessica
The good news
Shelton.
for him is that he is the only car 1 lap down at the moment. He would be the top. Well, he is, in addition, the 19, but he would be the first to get that lucky dog pass if there was a caution.
So he's in a pretty good position right now, but if this thing does stay green, he's not going to have a shot after race empty. I'm a little intrigued to see what the fuel window actually is for these guys, because I know it's set on 2x. Well, we haven't seen green flag pit stops yet in this race, so we'll have to see if this thing does stay green, when they might come down. Tyler Mallon looking out on Cody Lamas, not going to make the move. Andrew Lemke's behind him in the 18. But at this point, there's no reason to battle for the win, especially considering you still have green flag pit stops. So these guys are just going to stay where they're at, race it clean, and then when it is crunch time, they will go for it. But now is not the time to be racing hard. You want to make sure you have a car to be able to race hard once we get to the end of this race.
Very, very good statement there. They just have to keep it clean, and right now, they've been doing the single file train on the inside lane all night long for the most part until the final 2 or 3 laps in both stages. So I would imagine they will probably do this same train again until pit stops comes around at least.
A little bit of a moment right there. They backed it up a little bit. Jessica Shelton had to check up slightly down the backstretch, and we saw what happened when Emmanuel Hartnett did that earlier on. Hartnett is officially out of the race, 12 laps down, so I don't think he's going to come back. He is officially retired. The same goes for the 88 of Michael Norman, of course. David Alvarez as well. Not entirely sure what happened to him. Hopefully I didn't offend him by critiquing the fact that his number was on the quarter panel, but still. But tough break for all those guys out of the race still, though. A lot of guys still in contention. And all the way from the number 42 of Charles Belling on up. That's 11 cars in this lead draft in contention for this race victory. And I think all these guys have a shot, especially if things get really wild at the end of this thing.
Yeah, and it'll probably
open a little bit.
Yeah, Crampton's still out front. And honestly, I think these guys are just content of riding it out here. Plus, they're just doing a good job as well, but you have to think about it. Is this a strategy for the rest of the field with them getting the draft and saving potentially some fuel, and Travis Crampton not having any draft and not saving any fuel?
These guys peeking out back in here. I'm not sure if they were trying to make a move on the outside or not. Got Dylan Poteach, Jessica Shelton back in all that. But you're right about that, Nathan. Crampton's been leading this field. He has not had the luxury of saving fuel here, and that could be an issue if this becomes a fuel mileage race. I don't really know if it will become a fuel mileage race, but if it does, that's not going to play out too well for Crampton. Might not have a good shot at the win if that's the case. Ricky Johnson, though, has been behind him this whole time. I imagine all these guys have been able to save fuel a little bit better than the 46. We'll have to see how it all shakes out for him as this race goes along. Basically just racing until that pit stop. And then when we get to that pit stop, with the consideration if they're going to have to come down again or not, then that's when the racing is going to pick up because they know it's for the race victory.
Yeah, very true. And also, I think it would probably be somewhere around maybe 60, yeah, like 64 to maybe 68 for pit stops. But then again, it could only be 16 laps on fuel because we don't know if it's 16 or 20 or more than 20 on that fuel one.
Yeah, we'll definitely, if this thing stays green, we'll definitely be able to tell if they're going to have to make another stop or not. So they restart on lap 44. Actually on lap 45, and here we go. So that means that they're going to have to make another stop, and everybody's coming down.
Everyone.
And will everyone make it down cleanly? That's the question. They will. Great job out of those guys right there.
3 wide in 2 different rows behind them.
You got to be careful. They got to sort that out. Of course, Dejon Weeks is in a good position.
So supposedly, it might only be 12 laps of fuel.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised, 2x in the CTS physics especially. You're going to burn fuel very quickly,
laps.
So this is far from the last stop of the night.
Yeah, 14 laps on fuel.
Oh
so.
boy, Shane Sides is a lap down. Trying to play some sort of strategy. I don't think it's going to work out too well. He's going to need a caution to get back in this thing. Crampton will win the race off. And all these guys getting off around the same time as well. Jessica Shelton, really the only driver falling back.
You do remember Shane Sides had to pit just after the start of the stage because he couldn't get to pit road. He missed the stall.
We'll have to see how Shane Sides races this thing as this race goes along. Crampton, though, will remain the race leader. Ricky Johnson right behind him. Tyler Mallon in third. Andrew Lemke, Dejon Weeks, and Cody Lamas. And now the field is spread out. Seth Cole is there. We haven't really seen much of Seth Cole here tonight. Of course, he was involved in that first accident that we had back on lap 12. But Seth Cole currently in the 8th position, I do believe. But these guys are going to rejoin into a pack. Mallon, Lemke, Weeks, and Lamas. They're all going to be back in it. I don't know about Seth Cole and Dylan Poteet, Matthew Rodriguez. I don't think they're going to have a shot, at least at this point. They could play strategy in the next pit stop and get up there, but right now they're not in contention. Charles Belding, 10th, had lost the draft, and same with Jessica Shelton. They did not get the best of runs on their pit stops. Phil Parker is a lap down. Of course, Rob Evans had his issue. Johnny Gardner a lap down as well on the number 50 machine, and then Christian... number 45 of Christian Shaw is multiple laps. Actually, no, he's on the lead lap, excuse me. Right there in the 12th position, so we'll have to see how it all plays out. But a lot of guys were able to stay with it. And Crampton continuing the lead here, as we now only have 24 laps to go in this race. Oh boy, if it's only a 12-lap fuel window, they're going to have
Well,
2 more pit stops after this.
Well, actually, it's 14. I miscounted, so it's actually 14.
Oh wow.
And I just did the math. If it stays green all the way, they will have to pit around lap 72 for the second pit stop of stage 3 and for the last stop of the day. So lap 72 is the magic number if it stays green.
So lap 72, the magic number for these guys to make their last stop of the race. And from there, they will be able to make it to the end. If the fuel run is 14 laps, we will only have 13 laps left at that point. That's pretty close, but they should all be able to make it if this thing stays green without any fuel issues. But lap 72, it's only 11 laps away from now, so these guys are probably thinking already about that next cycle of pit stops. Mallon getting some help there from Shane Sides, and Shane Sides, I don't know what you do if you're Shane Sides. You try to get your lap back the old-fashioned way or hope for a caution or what, but 96 right there, trying to help out Tyler Mallon on the outside lane. They have been our 2 stage winners here tonight in the Daytona 500, both in exciting stages as well. And one of them is a lap down. One of them is third right now, riding this thing out, hoping for a race victory. Of course, he won Talladega. That was a huge win for Mallon's career a few months ago. And I would definitely imagine that Mallon would love to get this one as well. He's got a huge run there. Johnson and Crampton did not get off the corner well, and now that outside lane looks to be forming here. Mallon's going to try to make this pass here. He wants to see if he can do it on the 93 and the 46 side by side for the race lead. And now it's starting to get edgy out there. Johnson peeking out.
Oh.
Then Mallon's going to drive by Crampton and take the race lead away with help from Shane Sides.
To the outside a little bit off 4.
A little bit of a bump right there. Shane Sides now with a run on the outside of Mallon.
Getting a huge run. He wants that lap back.
He does. He's going to try to do it the old-fashioned way. Dejan Weeks there as well. Bit of contact as they entered the corner. Mallon trying to keep it together. He files down in front of Crampton, and he's getting the inside lane to work a little bit better now. I don't think Shane Side's going to get his lap back right there. That was close. Oh, Mallon now blocking the outside lane.
Oh, my God.
And then you got Travis Crampton here on the inside, trying to find a way to the inside. Crampton's not doing anything wrong here. He's just trying to hold on to it. But Mallon, aggressive move there on the outside. Got it to work. If there's anybody out here that can do it, it is Tyler Mallon. He's one of the best. And a new race leader here at Daytona with 20 laps to go this time by Tyler Mallon in the 08.
The 3 dominant cars, the 08, the 46, and the 93 are 1, 2, 3.
And Shane Sides all the way to the back of the pack. Gonna join the 45 of Cameron, or 45 of Christian Shaw, as to say, his driver's a lap down. Everyone from Dejan Weeks on up, 6 guys in this pack, all on the lead lap. But I mentioned at the top of the show, this is not the guy you want to be leading if you're somebody else. Tyler Mallon out front. Now pacing this field here at Daytona. That was a bold move out of Mallon. And they could have been working together, he and Shane Sides. Remember, some of these guys, they're in race rooms. They're in communication with each other. And they'll have that communication going on and possibly make those moves. So we'll have to see what these drivers say about it as we get to the end of the race, but we still got 19 laps to go. Mallon continues to lead with Travis Crampton behind him in second, Ricky Johnson in third, Andrew Lemke, and Cody Lamas. That's the top 5 here with 19 to go in the NNSCRA Daytona 500.
Crampton all over the back bumper of the 08.
And that's one thing I've noticed about Travis Crampton, especially off of turn 2. He is able to give whoever is out front, in front of him, he's able to give him one heck of a push down that back stretch.
Trying to do all he can to just stay behind Crampton, or stay behind Mallon, I should say. I got to give a lot of props to Travis in this race. He's not been too aggressive. He's just been there, making sure that he doesn't wreck anybody, that he doesn't cause anyone to get involved in a massive accident. So he's doing a great job of that in that number 46 machine, and I don't know, it might pay off as this race ends here in now 17 laps at Daytona. Ricky Johnson still third. The 18 of Andrew Lemke is still fourth. Cody Lamas is still fifth. And I think these guys are going to stay in those respective positions until we get to the next set of green flag pit stops, as Nathan said, expecting that to be around lap 72. So very, very soon from now, we'll be seeing our last set of green flag pit stops here in the 2020 NNSCRA Daytona 500.
And I have to give a huge props to everyone. Very good racing, very clean racing up to this point. And that's mostly thanks to that different setting of having it be on real illicit damage instead of moderate damage, just like years past and special events in the past.
Meanwhile, behind them, you got 7th, 8th, and 9th Seth Cole, Dylan Poteet, and Matthew Rodriguez all in a 3-car tandem trying to get back up here.
These drivers all trying to find the advantage they can get up to those lead drivers, but he's 10 seconds behind right now. It's going to be tough. You're going to have to pull something on the pit lane. I would imagine that these guys are going to probably go fuel only, but I would imagine a lot of these guys would probably go fuel only. Maybe. I don't know. Do you want to go fuel only because you almost got a full run afterwards?
I don't know. I mean, they still have, they're going to have almost a few run of fuel again. So, and for some of these guys, they didn't take tires when they last pitted on that 58. So, the real question is, if they don't take tires on lap 72 and just 3 or 4 laps, will the tires make it until the end?
Yeah, I would imagine if some of these guys have not taken tires, that they're going to do so. I don't know how long they can last on this racetrack. Of course, it's not a really big factor if you have fresh tires or not on a super speedway. It might give you a little bit more grip, but might make it easier to make passes. But I don't really know how much of a benefit it'll be, especially if you lose the draft. If you lose the draft, then by the looks of this race, it might go caution-free to the end. And if you lose the draft, you're not going to have a shot at the race victory.
Yeah, you cannot afford to lose that draft, and unfortunately, a couple people have, like Seth Cole and the Ray Effingham teammates, quote unquote, Poteet and Rodriguez.
They continue to lose time on the lead draft. Of course, the lead draft has a couple of helpers as well, a couple of drivers a lap down with Shane Sides and the 45 of Christian Shaw. For Shane Sides won the first stage, and if he didn't overshoot his pit stall, he would probably be on the lead lap at this point, maybe even leading this race. But he's still doing a great job, all things considered. And you said lap 72, Nathan?
Yeah, lap 72, 73, something around there. So possibly
we're lap 71 right now, so any time now, it could even be this lap these guys come down. It's still 14 to go, 13 when we cross the line next time by. I don't think they're going to do it now, but I would imagine next time by we might see these guys come down. Might want to watch out for these 3 guys too. They might try to pull off a different strategy on the rest of the field. We'll have to see what they can do. Seth Cole, Dylan Poteet, and Matthew Rodriguez, you're going to stay out right now. They might come down a different time, but I would imagine they're all working together at this point, trying to find something on this lead pack.
Yeah, I would think so. It looks like everyone
Just got
else...
word that some drivers will be pitting this time.
And Shelton,
we do have some drivers
Evans,
going to pit road
Parker,
right now. The 20,
and
Jeff
Gardner.
Shelton, Bill Parker, Rob Evans, Johnny Gardner.
We got some guys in the back right there. Of course, a lot of these guys are out of contention. Jessica Shelton, Phil Parker, Rob Evans.
Ooh,
And
here
we
they
go.
come.
Here come the leaders down the pit lane. Tyler Mallon, Travis
Lap
Crampton,
72.
Ricky
What's
Johnson.
What's up, boys?
I guessed it right. Lap 72 is when I thought most of these leaders would come in, and that's exactly what they are doing.
Well, let's put it this way, Nathan. You've had the information down better than any of us tonight, so I'm not surprised you got that.
I'm like the really mad for this race, pretty much.
Boy, these guys are coming close to each other, but I do believe they all made their pit stalls. And then you see the number 50 of Johnny Garner. He's a lap down. He's out of contention, but this is what we're focusing on. It looks like these guys are going fuel only. I'm not seeing any tires.
Oh, wow.
Johnson getting out. Here we go. Crampton going to drive by all of them in the 46.
Out of the pit lane.
Mallon will fall to 4th. Ricky Johnson will be 2nd. Cody Lamas will be 3rd.
Ooh, careful, boys.
You gotta be careful coming off the pit lane right here. There's Dejan Weeks, Andrew Lemke, Those are the 6 guys who are going to be contending for this race victory here at Daytona. We're going to have ourselves only 12 laps to go. 11 laps to go, I should say, and we'll cross the line next time by. So these guys are almost there. 11 to go. They're going to finish right at lap 84. So the lap you see right there, that is the official lap time. Crampton hit the apron through the corner. He's coming down. It looks like he was serviced with a penalty.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Tough break for the 46. He was doing so
Tough break for him. That's a hard one there for Travis Crampton. He was dominating this race. Had such a good shot at the race victory and a black flag. It might have been because of speeding off the pit lane. He did drive by a lot of those guys off, and such a heartbreaker there. He had such a good race going for him, and I was mentioning, you know, he was one of the least aggressive guys in this race, and he's got a little too aggressive on the pit lane. Meanwhile, for the race lead, Cody Lamas trying to work the outside. He's got help from Tyler Mallon up there. Ricky Johnson's on the inside lane. No help for Johnson, really. Dejon Weeks is also coming down. Weeks also serviced with a penalty. So those are 2 guys who had a massive shot at winning this race, who are now down the pit lane servicing penalties. Cody Lamas has taken the lead away from Ricky Johnson.
Man.
10 laps to go in the 2020 NNSCRA Daytona 500. Mallon in second. Ricky Johnson and Andrew Lemke. Those are the 4 guys in contention for this race victory.
But it all came down to
Whoa!
was,
Throws the
my
block on him.
goodness.
These guys are going to be aggressive to the end. I think they have a benefit because there are only 4 guys in the pack. They're going to have to drive around these guys. Rob Evans and Johnny Gardner. You got to be careful around these guys. Race it clean for now.
The big thing was that those were the last stops of the day, but honestly, I'm surprised that there wasn't more guys that got for that flag, because there was a lot of them that came in pretty hot going on to pit road.
Yeah, 2 of them, notably Dejon Weeks and Travis Crampton. They have both served their penalties. Crampton in the 46 is currently 9th, and Dejon Weeks has fallen to 8th. And here we go. They're getting another run. Tyler Mallon on the outside of Cody Lamas. They're working that outside lane right there. Ricky Johnson pushing the 08 as well. I don't think Mallon has this one in the bag like he did at Talladega. I think these guys are able to get that outside lane to work much better. Johnson with a move to the inside. Could not get it. Mallon back out front here at Daytona.
Huge cut by those guys.
And we now have 8 laps to go here in the Daytona 500. Mallon leading this field. Will he get another big win in his career?
Here's the big thing. We might not be done with cautions. If these guys get too aggressive, they could accidentally spin one of these guys out.
The point of no return would be lap 81. If they wrecked on lap 81, that would be it. If they wrecked on lap 80, we would have a restart. It's a 2-lap caution period, but if it comes near the end of the race, usually it's 3 laps. So, in-game cautions for these guys. Lap 84 is the end of the race, officially, and under caution if we need it. So there will not be overtime here in this race. So if they wreck, they wreck. That's just the way it goes. Now 7 laps to go here at Daytona. Mallon continuing to lead outside lane, looking for Andrew Lemke. Not enough room right there. We got these 2 guys, Rob Evans and Johnny Gardner, who look to rejoin the pack. They're both at least 1 lap down. Gardner is 2 laps down. Rob Evans 6 laps down in this event.
And Shane Size is done. He just went on pit road and retired, so I don't know what happened to him. He didn't have damage at all, but the stage 1 winner is done here at Daytona.
That's a tough break for Shane Sides. He gave us a great moment there in stage 1. Unfortunately, he will not be finishing here tonight in the Daytona 500. Here we go, 6 to go for Tyler Mallon. And I mean, at this point, they're waiting it out, but I can imagine Ricky Johnson, Andrew Lemke, Cody Lamas, they are not going to be content with Mallon winning this race. They are going to go for it.
And here's the thing. These guys, they could still crash. We could have a 1 or 2 lap shootout if there's a crash late in this race.
And some guys who want that to happen are Dylan Poteet, Seth Cole, Matthew Rodriguez. They're all there, about 20 seconds behind. They would be in contention for the race win if we got another restart. But they're doing a good job keeping it single file through the top 4. Malin continuing to lead in the 08 machine. 5 laps to go in the Daytona 500.
The dominant car of the night out of all of them, Tyler Malin. He's been doing a Dale Jr. pretty much here tonight. Dominating the field, but can he dominate this 3-car pack? Or can he dominate the other 3 cars in this 4-car pack for 5 more laps?
He has led 42 laps tonight. That's exactly half of the race. So with this lap led right here, he would have led over half of the event. If he leads this lap, Ricky Johnson, they tried to make a move on the outside. Johnson's going for it.
Contact.
He's got it. Outside lane push from Ricky Johnson, help from Andrew Lemke. And with 4 laps to go, new leaders Ricky Johnson. Contact between Cody Lamas and Tyler Malin. And almost sent him around. Johnson clears to the inside for the race lead. But now Malin's going to look on the outside of Ricky Johnson. What a move out of the 93. But it is far from over yet. That 93 is going to have a lot of pressure from the 08 behind him.
And we're at the point of no return. Caution comes out. The race is essentially over.
So Ricky Johnson, new leader, and Johnson has only led 8 laps so far tonight, including that one. Malin has led half of the event. Cody Lamas is here in the 48. Will he have a shot? He almost won stage 1. And Andrew Lemke, we really haven't talked about him too much. As a matter of fact, Lemke has only led 1 lap tonight. 1 lap. Will he lead 2? What a move there! Malin peeked to the inside. Johnson tried to block, and somehow they successfully did so without any contact. 3 to go in the Daytona 500. Who's going to win this race? Ricky Johnson leading the field. Tyler Malin, Cody Lamas, and Andrew Lemke. One of these 4 guys is going to get it. Another aggressive move out of Malin. He's looking, but you can't go below that double yellow line.
Find a place.
Oh, he's kind of rolling back right there, looking to get a run on Johnson here. Will he get the opportunity to make a move, or will Johnson block him this time? Coming to 2 laps to go. Malin's going to force his way to the inside.
Gets the inside.
But he does not have any help. Cody Lamas pushing Ricky Johnson on the outside lane.
Almost.
And Johnson will keep the lead. He'll clear back down to the inside. Cody Lamas to 2nd in the 48.
They're way up there high on the track.
They are. Cody Lamas is going to have a shot on the inside of Ricky Johnson. He's got a nose on the 93. Here we go. Cody Lamas trying to side draft him. This is good stuff here at Daytona. Ricky Johnson. They're coming to the white flag in the NNSCRA Daytona 500. Will we survive this last lap? Who knows? Cody Lamas in 2nd. Lamas has led 2 laps tonight. Will he get around Ricky Johnson? Trying on the outside. He's got the run, but Johnson's going to block. And a huge run from Tyler Malin in the 08. Malin's going to go to 2nd. He's going to peek to the inside of Ricky Johnson. Contact! Johnson's in the wall. And they're all in the outside wall. Andrew Lemke clears to the race lead. It's the last lap of the race, and Andrew Lemke has no competition. Lemke has led 1 lap all night. He's going to lead the last one as well for 2 laps led on the night. And how about this, folks? A Honda going the victory lane in the 2020 Daytona 500. It's going to be Andrew Lemke, your winner here tonight in the Daytona 500 for the NNSCRA off at turn 4. Andrew Lemke, your winner here at Daytona.
Wow.
What a race. And Richard Johnson is going to come in 2nd. And look at these guys. Look at the battle for 3rd place. Dylan Poteet, Seth Cole.
And these guys are behind the whole race. Seth Cole going for 3rd. It will be Poteet finishing in the 3rd position. And Cole got it on Rodriguez.
Huge crash.
Brother.
Tri-oval. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, at least both of these guys got top 5s.
Oh, my goodness. Huge crash in the tri-oval.
But what?
Seth Cole and
what a finish.
What a finish. What
Matthew
a race.
Rodriguez.
Andrew Lemke, your winner at Daytona. We gotta see that again.
User left your channel.
Wow.
Oh,
Nathan,
man,
oh
man.
my goodness. Here we go, replay. That's the 93 of Ricky Johnson. He's trying to hold the inside, and Mallon peeks to the inside. There wasn't enough room. Johnson left a little bit of a hole Mallon thought he had, and then it closed up just like that. Mallon and Lamas all torn up. Such a heartbreak for those guys, especially Tyler Mallon, who led half of the event. And Lemke was the only one who avoided the accident, drove away, and came home with the race victory.
You know what? That reminded me of what happened to Chastain in the real-life Daytona 500 coming into turn number 1. That reminded me a lot from that.
So we're going to have a very happy Andrew Lemke in the booth here soon. Wow, that's something else. Reminds me, I think a lot of it is, too, Lemke was not a guy who was ever leading. He was content. He was right behind those guys pretty much the whole time. And then they wrecked in front of him.
And to just run the race out.
But you see, Lamas tries to make that move, and that slows him down. Mallon gets a run here. That's a hard angle to see, but right there. Yeah, Mallon thought he had the hole, and Johnson closed it in. And then you see right there into turn number 1. Mallon and Lamas get caught up. And Andrew Lemke almost got caught up as well here. You see Rob Evans. I mean, he is right behind this when it happens. He was able to drive by it and steal the victory. What a race there for Andrew Lemke. You can see him there. I think he's already made his burnouts. But Rob Evans and Johnny Gardner congratulating him. He destroyed the motor on that car. But Andrew Lemke, your winner in the 2020 NNSCRA Daytona 500. How about that?
And Honda goes to victory lane. They only had 3 cars in this race, I believe. And they got it done with the one car that's 5 this race. What a job from Andrew Lemke in the number 18.
And we'll get Andrew Lemke in here soon. I think we're ready for some interviews. I don't know if you guys got anybody lined up yet, but we'll go ahead and show you guys the official standings of the race. Oh boy, what a move there for Andrew Lemke. I mean, it really wasn't a move for him. He just stayed behind and avoided the accident, and that's all it took. And we had a very clean race here tonight. But Lemke, all you got to do is avoid the accident. It was still a major factor at the end, coming home with the race victory. Ricky Johnson finished second. He was involved in an accident, still got second. The battle for third, you saw that. Dylan Poteet got it. Seth Cole and Matthew Rodriguez. They got a good run out of all this. All things considered, they had lost the draft, and they had no chance of winning. I mean, if Lemke got caught up in an accident, then they might have had a chance of winning. That really would have been interesting, but how about Lemke there? Number 18 getting it done. Crampton finishing 6th, Stage on Weeks in 7th. Remember, both those guys had speeding penalties, I believe, on the last cycle of pit stops. Charles Belding, Cody Lamas, and Tyler Mallon, the top 10 here from Daytona. So,
Yeah.
I'd imagine we got some folks here who might want an interview, so we'll have to figure this whole thing out. But we thank you guys so much for watching here tonight from Daytona. We'll get some thoughts on the drivers and see how everyone feels about this one. But what a race, guys. I mean, what are your thoughts on all that?
That was probably the best race we've seen so far in the NNSCRA for Daytona.
That was by far the best online race I've ever covered. And what a finish, too.
You
Came down
cannot
to the
beat
last
that.
lap.
User joined your channel.
We got Michael Norman here. And,
Hello, I was coming up here to see if you guys needed anybody.
Yeah, well, gonna want some interviews here?
Yep, just tell me who you need.
Yeah, well, why don't we interview the winner, Andrew Lemke? I mean, I'm sure he's
Okay.
happy.
If he's here. Oh, yeah, he's right here.
User was moved to your
And
channel.
we got ourselves the race winner, Andrew Lemke. You led 2 laps all night, but you led the most important one. What was going through your mind when you saw Malin get to the inside of Johnson there?
Oh man, I just don't know. I'm super emotional. I haven't won a big race like this in I think forever. But yeah, I knew those guys were getting really aggressive, and my teammates were saying, "Look, you need to lay back a little bit. This looks not so safe." And I was like, "Yeah," and so and it happened. And so and then they got Johnny. Big credit to the guys, my friends and teammates Rob Evans and Johnny Gardner. They helped coach me through that, and if, they definitely helped a whole big crap ton for me to get that win. But yeah, I just knew they were super aggressive, and with just 4 cars, it was really a back and forth game, and so I knew that was my one chance, was them wrecking, and so yeah, I that's what I waited for. Sometimes patience pays off.
It did, and we were talking at the top of the show how adding realistic damage would kind of let these guys race a little bit cleaner, but they got aggressive at the end, and we knew they would, and you just happened to avoid it, just like it always is. If you avoid the wrecks, you're going to have a good shot at the race win. Congratulations, man. You guys gave us one heck of a show, and we had a blast calling that race, so thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for being part of this.
Can I do a quick plug again?
Congratulations once again.
Yeah, thanks so much, and I also like to say, again, Johnny Gardner and Rob Evans, we kind of last minute we decided, you know what, we want to do something really, really different. We wanted to go with Hondas, and be the only Hondas in the field, and it was really cool. And our whole plan was to work together and stay clean and not get too messed up. And fortunately, they were involved in that warp wreck, but at the end, somehow we all they were there for me at the end, and I got to thank them so much for that.
So Andrew Lemke, your race winner here from Daytona, and he's going to be celebrating here tonight. Of course, his teammates Johnny Gunner and Rob Evans putting that team together, driving Hondas. Such a great job out of those guys, and Lemke going to be celebrating here tonight in Victory Lane at Daytona. So I don't know.
What a finish.
Yeah, I don't know if we have anybody else, but I know Rob Evans said he wanted an interview, so might get him in here. Of course, that's Lemke's teammate.
User was moved to your channel.
Rob Evans, driver number 19, got involved in that accident early on in the race, but you stayed out there and finished 6 laps down. But how cool was it to see your teammate get that race victory here tonight?
Oh, it's super satisfying. We all had a plan. We were kind of the outsiders, being the Honda manufacturers here. I mean, we only had 3 Hondas in the field, but I mean, even as a lap cars, our plan was to work together and try and help each other out. We kind of got up to Lemke, but I mean, being down on power, it wasn't easy to help him. But I mean, we still tried, and then the wreck happened, and then being there to witness that front row seat was one of the coolest things ever. So I'm just going to say congrats to my teammate Lemke on a very phenomenal run. We had some rough runs for the other Honda guys, but I have to say, pretty cool to debut the Honda. Of course, having Dragon Ball Z on the car. Gotta love the show. But anyways, thank you also to Seth for putting on the show, and hopefully we come back next event with a better run.
And Rob Evans finishing 16th here tonight, but definitely feeling pretty good as his teammate Andrew Lemke won the event. Thank you so much, man.
Have a good night, and thank you for doing all these broadcasts, guys. Hopefully, Halladega happens again.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome, my man.
User was moved out of your channel.
Travis Crampton coming up next. This is going to be an interesting one here.
User
Crampton, you had such a good run in that race, and then in the last pit stop, a black flag. It's got to hurt, but you still got a good run. But what was going through your mind during that whole race?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank Ricky Johnson for giving me a big shove. I tried to help him, and that didn't quite work out, and he started pushing me, so that kind of worked out. To be honest, that first fuel run, my fuel gauge was blinking orange at me, and I was like, oh, I'm probably going to run out. And thankfully I didn't, or else that would have been very bad. But overall, we had a pretty good race.
User left your channel.
This 46 car is pretty fast. But, it was just disappointing, getting that speeding penalty because I was 53 the whole pit road and then 56 on the last sector exiting pit road. So it was just one of those deals. But, sixth place will take it. And it's been a good comeback, I guess. Last year crashing out halfway and this year going the full distance. So it's been pretty good.
Great run for you guys. Got a sixth place run. I know Nathan was cheering for you, co-owner of the car and all that. Man, I couldn't get him to shut up about you, man. No, I'm just kidding. But no, congratulations. Great run tonight. Hated that's how it went, but still got the car in one piece, crossed the line in sixth place. Great run for you guys.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to Nathan for bringing the car to Daytona, and I also want to thank my real life sponsor, Big O Tires. Go check them out if you need tires on any of your vehicles.
Well, TJ Crampton finishing sixth here tonight at Daytona. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
User was moved out of your channel.
Oh man.
That might be it.
That might be it.
Oh yeah, that was a hell of a race.
Absolutely.
It was the best race.
You can say that again, and I think this is. You can go ahead.
Yeah, it was my first race with a wheel.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Interesting. But one thing,
and I ended up plowing the 96 on accident.
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, we saw that accident there, and yeah.
I was on the brakes, it just wouldn't stop. Oh, who am I getting now? Tyler Mallon. Tyler Mallon wants an interview.
All right, here we go.
Okay, here we go. This is gonna be
User was
something.
moved to your channel.
And Tyler Mallon, driver of the number 08. You had it there, and unfortunately Johnson closed the door on you there, and it's a tough way to end the race. But what was all that from your perspective there on the final lap?
I made a move. The door shut. Nothing really I could do. It was a great race by Ricky and I. We were battling it out there again really hard. He was blocking, I was blocking. It was a lot of fun. Looking back at that crash right now, that would have been a fatality if that were real.
Well, the good thing is it's not. It's a video game. That's what I always say with all my races.
Well, anyway, that was a lot of fun racing. Good win, Andrew Lemke. You really deserved it. Race clean all race. Good job.
Tyler Mallon, you did a great job, man. Led half of the race exactly, 42 laps here tonight. Still a great run, and unfortunately just part of racing, but I know you're good enough to go out there and get them next time. So good luck on the next one, and thank you so much for being part of the race.
Thanks for broadcasting this.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome, my man. It's Tyler Mallon there finishing in the 10th position, still getting a top 10 in this race. Even after the accident there with Cody Lamas and Ricky Johnson, but unfortunately not the finish that he wanted in today's event. But either way, do you think we got anyone else?
Nobody else. Everybody else is practically gone.
Yeah, all right. So with that in mind, I think we'll end it here. Carson's left us too. I don't know. He's down in the admin room.
Yeah, he's come down here to. Yeah.
He's
go
down
ahead.
in the
You
admin
guys
room,
are good. I just want to say thank you for broadcasting the race as always, Napa fan, and hopefully we'll see you around here again.
Yeah, absolutely. I love doing these races for you guys, especially this one. I will say this while you're here. I think it's one of the best decisions you guys made to make realistic damage. With what we saw tonight compared, and I've done the past two holidays, obviously they love the wreck 'em in those races. They did not do that here. There was realistically only one wreck for contact, and that was that final lap accident. So they did a great job, and I definitely applaud the officials for making that decision in this race. That gave us one heck of a show here tonight, and I can't thank them enough.
Here's your idea.
Was moved to your channel.
And here's the guy who made the decision, Seth Cole. First of all, as always, thank you so much for letting me call this race for you guys. I think we put on a good show for you, and you ended up finishing 4th, but, I mean, first of all, as I was just saying, I think it was such a great idea for you guys to put realistic damage on instead of moderate damage. They had to be careful, and because of that, they raced very well, and props to all you guys in the NNSCRA for making that decision for tonight's race.
I think a big part of it, too, we did realistic damage last so I think that played a big part into it as well. But yeah, a lot of people aren't real thrilled that we do realistic damage, but to your point, I think it makes the racing a lot better. People don't race as aggressively as if it's like the last lap or something. A lot of needless wrecks. So, to be honest, completely happy with the overall racing that went on here. And believe me, I have no doubt in my mind that you guys put on a tremendous broadcast, because you guys always do.
Plus, he gets to go back and watch and make sure it was a good.
Yeah. You kind of messed us up there when the server messed up, and we had to extend our broadcast at the beginning there. But hey, it all worked out.
The server itself messed me up because I don't understand the logic when you have a server set up for 84 laps and it only does 51, and then you go and you set up for 200 laps and it sets to 84. It's like, what are you doing to me, game? It is what it is. Unfortunately, it
at least we got to 84.
Yeah, I don't know how it magically appeared, but it did.
Yeah, but Seth Cole, thank you so much, of course, for putting all these races on. You're a legend, and we love having you around. So, yeah, thank you so much, and yeah, until the next one, man, I'll be here.
Absolutely. I just want to shout out Enmari, too, for sponsoring this race. They've sponsored us for the last 2 special events, so really appreciate them doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go check out Enmari. I don't know what they do, and I should know what they do, but go check them out anyway.
They're a website creating company.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and check them out if you want to make a website.
We'll also create really cool T-shirts.
Mm-hmm. And the winner, Andrew Lemke, will be getting a T-shirt as well.
I'll be honest, I was halfway screaming, "Don't let Cody get 2 shirts."
But yeah, thanks for having me up in the booth, Napa, and especially.
Out of your channel.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have been happy with that too. We got one more interview here. Matthew Rodriguez in the number 91, and you were with that pack with Seth Cole and Dylan Poteet there, and ended up with a top 5 finish. But I'm not sure if you've seen the finish yet. But what was your perspective on that whole thing going on at the end?
Thankfully, I've had a chance to see the finish. It just looked like a really badly timed move by Malin. It looks like he just cut down a little bit too early and fortunately caught the 93 I think he caught the 93 and the 48, and that just kind of handed Lemke the win. Very unfortunate with that. But, I mean, if there's one thing I can be proud of this race is that I flew higher than Seth Cole. So,
and we got that too. We got it.
I am the true pigeon racing.
But either way, thank you so much for being part of this. We had a blast calling this race. And you guys put on one heck of a show as well. I think that definitely deserves to be respected. And I haven't really talked about that too much, but you guys did a good job. I mean, you could have been a wreck fest like Talladega always is. But you guys didn't do that, and realistic, it was only 1 wreck for contact in this whole race. That is impressive. Even real life guys can't do that.
Make sure you get Dylan Poteet, because I think I hurt his feelings a little bit because I didn't involve him in that 3-car accident or that 2-car accident, so he needed a little bit of the lift.
Yeah, I don't know if he's in anymore. Oh, he is. He is.
Yeah, let me pull him up here.
User was moved to your channel.
That's me.
Hey.
3rd place finisher Dylan Poteet in number 9. Really didn't see much of you all race, but you ended up getting a good run at the end, and you were the only one there that didn't fly at the end. So, hey, how you feeling about that?
Yeah, it's like we were kind of like a 3-car team right there, just drafting around for a while, and it's like, oh, we're gonna have a nice finish, all clean cars. Looked at the mirror, and my teammate's dying, and Seth, who was running the host of this race and everything, died. Like, oh, wow.
I love how whenever we do an interview, it's usually because we're like somewhere in proximity to each other, and something interesting has happened. Whether we run 140 when everyone else is running 190, or we go flying through the air.
Yeah, it was better than last year because we were drafting about 140 last year, and I kind of like got him for 15th. I made him park a lap early, but that was last year, so.
Yeah, I was not happy about that.
Yeah, I think me and Matt are the opposite end of the spectrum. I think he was really happy with our finish, and I was kind of disappointed just because I don't think we were ever up there the entire race.
I was disappointed because me and Seth had this super secret plan going on that, like, around lap 79, I kind of messaged him saying, hey, let's pass Poteet, let's do this. We can finish ahead of him. And we finally get to the final lap, and we hear, oh, leaders is wrecked. They're wrecked on the back straightaway. And I tell Seth, like, all right, it's go time. We need to execute this plan.
The plan didn't happen until about turn 3, and it was already too late at that point.
Yeah, he waited till turn 3. I have no idea why, and I'm telling him, let's go, we gotta go.
I jokingly said, "Oh, actually, I'm gonna wreck on the last lap. Hopefully, all 4 get involved." And it almost happened. 3 technically did, but 1 made it through just being, just slowing down, just being right there in the right place. But
We almost had it.
it was a good win for Lemke. I'm not going to take it away from him. Like I said, just he was in the right place, right time, and a lot of things happened. Like I said, I think Dejan and the 46 both had a penalty, and it kind of broke everything up. I thought if they kept a big pack, there was probably going to be a yellow, and it didn't really happen. So we were just kind of riding, hoping for the best at that point.
All right, I have to go to Halifax Medical Center, so I'm just going to go ahead and take Poteet with me as my designated
I
driver.
will say, if you go there, you're probably going to be all right.
Yeah, we'll be good
Yeah,
hands.
I mean, Newman went there, and he's good, so.
Yeah.
Doctors.
But many thanks.
Yeah, it was fun.
User was moved out of your channel.
All right. I guess they're done, but we thank them so much. And Nathan, final thoughts on this race. I mean, you're with me all night. I know you've done online races before, but that was something else right there at the end.
That was by far the best online race I've ever commentated. These guys, I know we've mentioned it all night, but because it was realistic damage, it brought the best out of these drivers with finishes of both Stage 1 and Stage 2, and overall on the last lap of the race in general. That was just one heck of a race, one heck of a finish, and thanks for having me here tonight. That's one
Absolutely,
heck of a
man.
race.
I mean, come on. We've done, I don't know how many races together. I'm a go-to man for these things. The first online race we did, but we're really used to doing races together. I mean, come on.
Probably close to 25 at this point. Maybe even more.
Probably, it might be more. But hey, thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and check Nathan's channel out, NNSCRA. Those guys do a lot of awesome stuff in NR 2003, and definitely like to see them get the support. Of course, obviously, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, NNSCRA, I definitely recommend it. And I'll be on for more broadcasts. I don't know when the next race they're going to do, but I'm pretty sure when Talladega comes around, I'll be back in the booth for that race. That's one of my favorite races to do all year. I love doing that one, and I loved doing this one as well. They put on a heck of a show, and I can't thank Seth and all the guys at the NNSCRA enough for letting me do this, letting Nathan do this, letting Carson do it, letting all of us just be part of this, have some fun on this Wednesday night. And it was a great race, and we thank you so much for joining us here tonight from Daytona. So, yeah, that's it for me. Thank you once again to Seth Cole. Congratulations to Andrew Lemke, your race winner here tonight in the NNSCRA Daytona 500 for 2020. And yeah, on behalf of Carson Gum and Nathan Stapleton, I don't know when you guys will see me next on here, but hopefully it won't be too long before I do another NNSCRA special event. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Andrew Lemke once again. And I will see you guys later.